back.
Welcome to this special Thronebreaker developer stream. My name is Paweł Burza, and I'm joined by not one, but by two developers. And on my left, Kuba Szamałek, Principal Director, and Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz, the Game Director for Gwent, the Witcher card game.
Hey everyone.
Hello guys.
Hi.
Nice to have you here. Before we jump into the Thronebreaker gameplay, can you guys tell me, what is Thronebreaker for those who might not know and are watching?
So Thronebreaker started off as a single-player campaign for Gwent. Mm-hmm. However, as we developed it, it kind of grew and grew and grew. And now we consider it to be an RPG that uses card game mechanics to show battles, and it has choices, consequences, it has all these elements that people loved from our previous games.
It's a fully fledged game set in the Witcher universe, which has our trademark choices and consequences system. A lot of non-linearities for players to explore, and gray moral choices where nothing is right or wrong, but everything is a shade of gray.
Great, I like that. Just like The Witcher 3. And speaking of The Witcher 3, both of you guys worked on The Witcher 3. How different was working on Thronebreaker from your perspective?
Well, I'd say that there's some differences, especially backstage, so to say. So the stuff that we worked on, we worked on a different engine, and the systems that we used were different. But in its core, Thronebreaker is a Witcher game, and it's recognizably part of the Witcher universe. From the narrative standpoint, there are some differences. We have the narrator who narrates the story, who sets the context for the events, and the tools that we use to tell the story are somewhat different. But in its essence, it's a Witcher story.
I would say also like the perspective in which you explore the world is vastly different, because it's an isometric game. It's not the third person anymore. So we had to reinvent the way we show the world, and we had to think, how to interact with the world. We had to think all over again, what kind of systems do we want? So we had to design it from the scratch. And well, I personally don't have experience with isometric RPGs as a developer, so it was a big challenge, and it was very interesting to work on. I love isometric RPGs, so it was very cool to work on.
We are both fans of old school isometric RPGs, and
like Heroes.
I'd say the
Baldur's Gate,
Fallout series, but stuff like
of course, Heroes of Might and Magic, Banner Saga, games like these were also part of our inspirations. Like there are some systems which we have in the game, which are very heavily inspired by those games. But I mean, in terms of RPGs, in terms of isometric RPGs, Baldur's Gate, Fallout. And so on.
Arcanum, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So as you guys probably know, or maybe don't know, you can pre-order Thronebreaker by going to witchertales.com. But before that, maybe a little bit of stats. What can we expect when we buy Thronebreaker?
So Thronebreaker started off, like I said, as a single-player campaign for 10 hours. However, right now it's over 30 hours of gameplay. Since we had to basically build the game completely differently than the multiplayer version is built, it has over 200 custom-made cards, which, because it is a single-player experience, are vastly different, and they can be overpowered, they can be very difficult to beat, they can be these weird custom things which would never work in multiplayer, but here we can play around with them. We have 20 different ending states of the world. So based on your choices that you make throughout the game, you might get one of these outcomes. And I would say these are the most important stats.
Something we also like to mention is the fact that we recorded more VO lines for the Thronebreaker than we did for the Hearts of Stone expansion for The Witcher 3.
Yes.
So this is really a sizable chunk of a story. It's not something that we tacked onto a card game. It's a story in its own right, with elements of it told via battles shown with cards and Gwent.
And of course it's localized like all our previous games, these voiceovers, so it's going to be localized into 12 languages.
Exactly. So even more than The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Awesome. Kuba, question for you. Regarding storytelling, you already said that we have a narrator, like setting the scenes and talking about what the characters are feeling. What else was different from the storytelling perspective?
Well, I think the biggest difference from my perspective was that we are showing the world of The Witcher from a very different pair of eyes. So before, players had the opportunity to explore the world of The Witcher as the eponymous Witcher. Geralt was an outsider. He was somewhat like a Ronin, traveling on his own, with his own set of rules, his own codex of how to deal with the obstacles he encountered. And Meve is very different. She's exactly the opposite end of the spectrum. She's an esteemed ruler. She's accompanied by a sizable retinue of advisors and generals, and everything she does, everything she says, is important. It shapes her image. It influences how people see her, and she can never forget that. She always has to think about the political aspect of what she's doing, and also the challenges, the moral challenges that we pose to players who walk around the world of The Witcher in Meve's shoes are very different from those that we set for Geralt, because her choices not only influence her or aren't only relevant to her, but also the whole army. So what do you do when your soldiers break the rules? What do you do when your advisors betrays you, but he's still necessary for the well-being of the army? So the choices that you will be making are different, but they are again very difficult and set in this gray morality of the Witcher universe.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say there are also a lot of similarities, like in terms of like Kuba said, the morally gray choices, difficult choices with lasting consequences, where none of the choices actually is a good one, because you don't want to do these things, but sometimes as a ruler you have to make these choices, right? It's just like Kuba said, shown through the different pair of eyes.
Yeah, cool. And even though, as you will see in a second, the art style is different, it's a little bit cartoony, it's the same mature universe which doesn't shy from controversial issues.
Yeah, awesome. So speaking of which, let's stop talking and let's jump into the game, and then we'll talk a little bit more. But yeah, let's just go straight in. And let's set the scene, because as you guys know, we had journalists over last week and they already showed some elements of the tutorial. But what we're going to show you is just what happens after the tutorial, and you're pretty much, we let you go. We let you be free.
Yeah, we let you free roam.
Yeah, you can free roam, do your own things. So guys, can you set the story?
So I'm just going to open the map, but you can write over that.
Okay, so we are about an hour into the game. Queen Meve has returned from a royal summit, and she has found her kingdom, Lyria, in disarray. So her young son, Willem, who was entrusted with the kingdom, doesn't seem to be doing well. The country is overrun by bandits who call themselves Strays of Spala, and Meve's on a mission to resolve this issue once and for all, capture their leader and take him for questioning to the capital. So Mateusz is now showing you the whole map. Our position is marked by the crown, and the yellow exclamation mark is where we are headed. This is Lord Clayton's estate, where we know that these bandits, Strays of Spala, were headed. But as you can see, the map is much bigger than what you can see on the main screen. And this is just one of 5 maps that we have in the Thronebreaker campaign. So there's a lot of stuff to see and explore, and each of the maps is different, has its own character.
Yeah, as you can see, there are a lot of markers. These symbolize side activities, and you're basically, after the tutorial, you're left to explore. However, yes, we're going to show you very specific things. So yeah, I guess I'll get
so let's
go
towards the place where we know the bandits are hiding.
And their leader, the Duke of Dogs, as they call him.
You spy that column of smoke? Gods damn it! Make haste!
As the Clayton estate appeared from behind a tree line, the Queen and all in her retinue knew at once they had arrived too late. A veritable swarm of bandits milled about the yard.
Who have we here? I'll take a gander, lads. The Queen herself has deigned to come and see us.
See you, then kill you.
The Strays of Spala. 'Tis you who lead them. 'Tis you they call the Duke of Dogs.
Aye, 'tis I they dub so, and in other pleasant ways. Prince of Pariahs, Thane of Thieves, Baron of Brigands, and Marquess of Mendacity.
Colourful titles all, yet you omit one. Common cutthroat!
I beg your pardon and cry foul. I am anything but common.
You needn't get excited, Caldwell. Where is Lord Clayton?
Sadly, my lord's no longer with us. Turned us away, you see. Denied us hospitality. A sacred right, after all. Angered the gods mightily, I expect, as he promptly met a tragic end. Fell in the well and broke his neck.
I've heard enough. To arms! Attack!
So yes, the battles in Thronebreaker, like I mentioned before, are symbolized by Gwent battles, obviously. So here we can see who is our opponent, and we're gonna fight the Duke of Dogs. He's a boss, and there are hints you can find on the screen, as well as some flavor context.
It's probably worth mentioning that the icons at the bottom inform you that this battle will be following, this is an important story battle, but it also will be following a special rule set. So since this is a single player game, we can play more with the rules and make things you know, interesting with changing things a little bit. So this battle will only last one round.
And here we have a short part of the tutorial that explains the mulligan, which most people that play Gwent are familiar with, I expect.
Especially that now the mulligan screen changed. We also featured it in some of the homecoming videos. So you see which cards you're mulliganing. But like you said, everything gameplay-wise is tailored to a single player experience, so you can do crazy stuff. And we withdrew everything.
Oh, lads! What say we throw this queen a ball?
So the special thing here is that Gascon, the boss, he's on our side actually, and he'll keep jumping between our rows, and the thing we have to do is to place units next to him, and we have to kind of try and grab him to overpower him. So I'm just gonna do this with the Scytheman, which I can boost with my leader
Meve
ability.
has a special ability where she boosts a unit, and also it gets armor thanks to that. And plus the sidemen additionally get boosts when you use the ability.
And you probably already heard that we have a lot of new boards to show. This board is characteristic to Rivia, to Lyria. This is where we are using it the most. And it's really lovely. I love all the work that our FX artists and animators and 2D and 3D artists put into it. So you can see that the blades of the windmill are animated and they're going around. There are butterflies flying around the bushes, and
yeah, I can move the camera around to show more of it.
And the piece of paper on the board are fluttering on the wind. So there's a lot to see and a lot to admire. It's a really beautiful board, and it's just one of many we'll show in the Thronebreaker campaign.
Yeah, and for me, what I really like is the leaders having them on the board. We use motion capture for them. They're fully animated. It's really cool to have them here present.
As you can see, he's trying to get away. I have to place more units next to him to overpower him.
Now you have more enemy units on your side. Can you actually show what the infiltrators do?
Yeah, the infiltrators are nasty. They basically, he plays them on my side, and he will, after one turn, steal the power of the unit to his right.
And then go back to his own side of the board.
Yes. Yeah. So I basically try to block him, but right now I care more about Gascon, because this is our main objective in this battle.
Exactly. You have to overpower him. Boom.
Oh, now actually, now actually he's just gonna steal 6.
Yeah.
Because Gascon moved there, which is not very good for him.
You can see why they are called the Strays of Spala. They are a group of bandits which escaped one of the prisons in the neighboring kingdom of Rivia. And running away, they stole torturers' tools and equipment. And this is why they were fighting with unusual weapons. This is why they're wearing iron masks, and they're quite a sight to behold.
Yeah, as you guys know, the build that we're showing is work in progress, so you might see some interesting things on the board, issues, but yeah. Like I said, work in progress, these things happen.
Yeah, like this VFX here.
Yeah.
It's kinda stuck.
We got a job to do.
Okay, let's try to play this maybe.
I'm coming.
Yeah, get more copies. Yeah, rule set is the same. You have maximum of 2 bronze copies of cards. And also deck builder, maybe we can show a little bit later. Like
Yeah,
show the
actually I'm
count.
gonna go
Yeah.
into the camp right after this,
Okay,
just to
cool.
show it off.
Yeah, it's probably also worth mentioning that there are different versions of Meve, so depending on what weapon you choose to equip, you'll have a different ability to use. So as you are progressing in the campaign, you can find new weapons for Meve. How many are there? 6 or 5?
I think more than 6, to be honest. So yeah, the way to change her leader ability is basically to equip a different weapon for
in
her.
the camp.
Other than that, you also have these. Oh wow, sorry, something happened
on the
underground.
side.
Yes, so other than that, you also get special trophies, like this Lyria trophy, which is basically always starting on the board when the game starts. And yeah, I can change it to a different one. They obviously do different things. This one specifically reduces her timer, so I can use her more often. Oh, okay, he got rid of my unit next to him. Okay, actually, I think we managed to overpower him.
Yep.
So the battle should
It's
end
down
shortly.
to 0.
As soon as it triggers.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
You did it.
Yeah. How many times have you played this battle?
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
I can't say the same for you, I fear. You'd have done better to die in battle. Bound for Lyria now, where the hangman will have his way with you.
Splendid! I've ever wished to see the capital.
Take him away.
As soldiers placed the Duke of Dogs in shackles, there was a sudden commotion. A messenger rushed in, sweaty, gasping for air, smelling of smoke and blood. His gaze spoke terror.
Your Majesty, graces. Nilfgaard's crossed the Yaruga. Black-clad hordes. Villages burn. Folk lie murdered. Nilfgaard, gods help us. They march for Dravograd. Prince Willem, he can't hope to arrive in time with aid. Help us. You must.
Dravograd. Blast it all. Listen close, soldier. You're to take a fresh mount, ride hard back to your commander and say the Queen comes to repel the foe.
Your Grace, begging your pardon, our force. We aren't many. Let's send for reinforcements first, elsewise...
Reynard, I've seen Nilfgaard's trebuchets at work. Should we delay until we're stronger, they'll leave no stone standing in Dravograd. We must ride for the town at once.
As her men prepared to march, Meve climbed the manor's tower. Smoke rose in columns in the distance. As more black pillars appeared one after the other, she knew they meant another home, another barn, another mill was in flames. Tears welled in her eyes, yet they were tears of anger.
Bastards. If it's war they seek, it's war I shall bring. Reynard, prepare to ride!
So yeah, actually, for completing this battle, we have unlocked a different weapon for Meve, which I'm gonna equip now.
Helpful top-up to remind you.
Yes.
Yep.
So
let's jump
actually,
into the camp.
one very big system we have in the game is the war camp. And you can enter the war camp at any point from the exploration map. It kind of, you know, it's kind of reminiscent to the Heroes of Might and Magic castles. So basically we can upgrade it, we can build different buildings in it. And these buildings give us access to different kinds of units. So I could build the training grounds, for example.
There we have it.
which unlocks these units. Unfortunately, I think I don't have any kind of resource right now to actually buy them, but I can find them on the exploration map. However, we could show you... Oh, actually, yes. Actually, we can show you the deck builder tutorial first. I'm just gonna click through this. So yes, you recruit units here, like this Wagenburg, for example.
Yeah.
And then you can add it to your army. And like I mentioned before, you can also change the Meve's weapon. So basically you go into this screen and you select the weapon you want to use. So this one is a bit different. It's not a defensive one. It doesn't boost my units like the one I have right now. It will damage all the units with the same power level by 4, which is quite good actually. I'm gonna get that. And you might see a few different things here which weren't present on the live version. So for example, one of the big changes we did is the provision system.
Yeah.
So right now you have to have the minimum of 25 cards in your deck. However, you're limited by the provisions. Each of the cards has a provision cost, which you can see here at the bottom. And based on that, you can basically fill out your deck. There is no limit of golds or bronzes anymore. So you could, in theory, fill it with golds, although due to the provision limit, it's not that easy.
So you can.
It's probably worth mentioning that in
Can't go
the
too
single-player campaign, you can actually
raise
your limit
yes.
by building certain structures in the camp.
Yes, exactly. Also, there are things that are unique for a single player here. So, like I mentioned before, there is a trophy, and there are trinkets. And the trinkets are basically items which you find during your travels. And these will always start in your hand at the beginning of each Gwent game. So right now I have 2 slots. I could expand that with buildings as well.
Also, one thing to mention is when you're crafting a card, you now have 3 things that you need to take into account. You have gold, you have wood, and you have recruits.
Yes.
So recruits you get throughout the map. Sometimes people will join you, sometimes you will just
sometimes
get...
in quests, sometimes based on your decisions, sometimes they will leave or die. And yes, you need them to recruit the units. And gold and the wood you basically spend to build buildings, but also to train them, to equip them, basically. I think that's it from here.
Yeah, we can show some other structures, like for example the Royal Tent.
Yeah, Royal Tent
this is your
yeah,
command center. So as you mentioned, you play as a monarch, so you depend not only on your own pair of eyes and ears, but you also get reports from your spies. You correspond with other kings and you intercept enemy communications. And it actually makes a lot of sense to read those because they sometimes offer you information pertinent to quests that you will do in the future. So if you read them, you might glance some information which will help you to make the right choice or limit your losses or surprise your enemy. There are also tabs for maps and keys and card fragments because you can also find these. We haven't found a map yet, but you can find maps which point to locations of treasures. And maybe let's take a look inside the canteen. So, exactly, this is where you can talk with your companions. This is the beginning of our adventure, so there's only a few people inside. But later on, the place will be filled with people you met on your journey.
Worked in a mess once that served no meat, not even sausage.
These companions won't necessarily get along, so they will have conflicting views on how to resolve certain issues. They will offer you very different advice, and depending on whose advice you follow, they will react very strongly, and sometimes they might even leave your retinue if they decide that they cannot agree with your decisions. So one of the aspects of being a good monarch is being able to play out these conflicts skillfully and make sure that everyone is happy to perform the duties for you, the Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
At ease, Reynard.
Yeah, and for example, like Mateusz is showing right now, you can talk to Reynard about different things.
Yeah, but maybe...
but
I think we'll talk to him later.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll move on with the quest.
But it's also worth mentioning that these characters have rich backstories. I think you can move on and we'll just keep on, talking. And you can learn about their past, you can learn about their secrets. And by doing so, you can actually unlock better versions of these cards. So it's pays to talk to them, not only in terms of satisfaction from learning more about their your friends or your advisors, but you can also unlock better versions of their cards.
And we're grabbing the loot right now, taking all the stuff that we got from the battle. So additional resources that we can use later. As you can see, there's quite a lot of things. You missed the barrels though. Just saying.
Oh well.
It's fine. I'll do without it.
Suddenly, Meve's force
Oh,
found
my
itself
favorite guy.
marching straight towards a Nilfgaardian company. To the Queen's surprise, the invaders did not immediately assume battle formation. They proceeded instead in her very direction without a sign of panic. The man leading the Nilfgaardians was clad in rich robes. He exuded pride and the scent of musk.
I am Traern var Vdifir, Your Majesty. I was asked to present your esteemed grace the ultimatum of the forces of the Empire of Nilfgaard.
The envoy cracked the seal on a scroll, unfurled it, took a deep breath, and began to read.
I, General Ardal Ebdahi, demand the immediate and unconditional surrender of Lyria and Rivia. Elsewise, I will burn down every city, town, village, and temple, place all your subjects in chains, and your armed men, defeated and captured, I will hang along the roadsides as a warning to all others in the barbarous north.
As the final threat echoed in Meve's ears, the envoy put away the scroll and stood waiting for her answer, a mocking smile on his face. He allowed himself this insolence, believing the immunity accorded diplomats would shield him from any form of royal ire.
Okay, so what shall we do?
So this is one of the places where we can actually make choices, and we could kill the guy, actually, but I don't know. What do you think we should do? We should be diplomatic, I think, at this point.
I command your self-restraint. I always attack
thank
him.
you, sir.
You always attack him, really? Oh, come on.
No, I just can't
beyond
do
a
it.
doubt
No,
Nilfgaard's
it's the accent.
superiority over the culturally backward north.
Answered the Queen in a voice frostier than Mahakam's snow-capped peaks.
To delay this matter, I see no reason, so I give you my response to His Excellency. Go ahead and try, Whoreson.
That said, Meve slapped her mount with her reins and galloped away, leaving the Nilfgaardians in dust. Envoy and escort turned to go whence they came, the Lyrians sending them off with a din of whistles and curses.
So yeah, we opted not to fight them. However, obviously we could play this one out.
And of course, this choice would have had consequences further down the road. So what you do in these situations is important for what happens in the future.
Seems we have another event coming up.
Then one day, gazing towards the horizon, the Queen spotted Lyrian banners whipping about in the wind.
At long last.
She said with a smile. Meve resolved to speak with the commander, one Baronet Eldar. It was the first time they met, and the youth very much impressed her. Yet instead of questioning Eldar about the foe's troop movements, Reynard took the conversation down a seemingly irrelevant path.
And how's your father, if I may ask? In good health, I hope?
Yes, though he still nurses that bump he suffered while hunting last winter. Yet he's not one to complain. I'll tell him you asked.
Irritated at the trivial nature of the conversation, Meve gave her horse a dose of her reins and cantered off. Once Eldar and his men were safely behind them, she took Reynard aside.
Reynard's in trouble now.
Reynard, this is no time for gossip and pleasantries. We are at war.
Yes, Your Majesty. And in such times, little should be taken at face value. Even a man's name.
Get to the point, Reynard.
Eldar's father died a month past. His son, I venture, should have known as much.
But that means... Oh, the bastard. Impeccable accent, though.
I fear he's rather representative of what we face. Nilfgaardian spies are ever well prepared.
Tell me, how did you know?
He wears no mourning on his armor. Were it not for that, I dare say I might never have guessed. What are your orders, Your Grace? To observe these Nilfgaardian mummers?
So yeah, here we have another side quest, although I feel like showing you guys something else. So I think we'll
And
also...
we have to hurry to get to Dravograd in time, so
Yeah.
let's just move on.
But
No,
yeah,
leave
some
them
of the
be.
side quests they
A small
have,
force
like,
can't do us harm.
you will find them on the main path, like the
One
guiding
hour
you to them.
and must reach Dravograd quickly.
As you wish, Your Grace.
So actually, another thing that we are informing the players about here is that Nilfgaard has very good spies, and it isn't just the war machines and the heavy cavalry that you should be afraid of.
What the devil is
And this
going
is
on?
not the last
Where
encounter
are our
with a Nilfgaardian
reinforcements?
spy.
Why does Willem not ride out to face the foe? Relieve
You can actually
besieged
click on
towns?
Yeah?
I can't
let's
say,
show
Your Grace.
another system.
We haven't had a single scroll
I'll
from
just
the
let them
Prince.
finish.
Gods be damned. I've the impression I'm alone in fighting the Blackclads.
So yes, this is one of the side activities, which are actually presented in a bit different way.
Yeah. So there's a short summary of the situation you encounter, and usually you're facing a difficult situation. You get a report from your scouts, and you have to quickly decide what you want to do. And usually you use some resources to a certain goal. And in this situation, we know that there are people trapped inside a temple, and we can send some soldiers to help them, which will increase our morale, which is another important system that we should probably cover in a little bit.
But
this
some of your
costs,
recruits will
yeah,
basically
recruits.
die.
Yeah.
The morale system that Kuba mentioned, which, yes, I'm gonna do this, actually. So the morale system actually helps us in battle. The higher the morale is, the better our unit's performance in the battle. So it directly impacts their strength. So if you have high morale, the units have +1 strength. If you have low morale, it's -1. If it's neutral, they only use their base value.
Yeah. So again, in The Witcher 3, when you played, you only had to think about what Geralt thinks and what he thinks is right. Whereas here, you also have to think about how your soldiers will perceive you. So sometimes you do something you personally don't agree with, just to make sure that the morale remains high. But here,
A cry
we
in
have an
turn
ambush.
went up and down Meve's ranks.
Dum dum dum. And a battle. But it's a shortened battle, as
This
we
one
know.
is shortened, but it's standard, I think, from what I remember. Meaning there is no special objective in this one.
Maybe a right moment to mention that we are changing the name of Swallow in single player, because I know that some people have been, concerned with the fact that we're using a Witcher potion on regular humans, so that will be fixed in the final release version.
All right.
So actually this guy, he plays some cards that are ambushes on my side, and they will do things, which right now we don't see what specifically they'll do. Oh, and as you can see, I changed the weapon, so it no longer targets my units.
So you
because
can
now
only
it's
deal damage
an
now.
offensive
Yeah. Boom.
card, so I can kill off this guy before he triggers. And as you can see, the board is a bit different. This one is
Another recruit.
Nilfgaardian board. I think we didn't actually show this
Yeah,
one.
we never showed the Nilfgaardian board, so you can see it here for the first time. It's the same type that will be for the multiplayer version of Gwent.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
And as you can see, there's a different model for the enemy leader.
Yep.
And a lot of these leaders are custom-made for the Thronebreaker campaign, so they are present in the multiplayer version. Here we have a Nilfgaardian scout.
So these guys, I think, when they uncover, they will deal big damage to the units in this row. So I might want to not place any more units in there for a while.
I'm coming.
Yes, and actually this Wagenburg, it has an interesting mechanic because the more units you play in this row, the more armor it gets. And at any point you can decide to use up that armor to deal damage to the entire row on the enemy side.
So you decide when you want to trigger the ability on the
Yes.
card.
But of course the enemies could get rid of the armor. So yeah, this Meve's weapon, it actually gets better if there are multiple copies of units with the same power on the opponent's side, which I just
You
used.
destroy 2 fours.
Yes. Yep, so these
Yeah,
guys
the
activated.
assassins, boom.
There we have Reinhardt, which we saw in the dialogues. He'll basically renew the ability of this card. So I think actually what I could do to show you is this cool combo. So I can deal damage to these guys. Now I can move these guys. Then I play him,
Her Majesty knows what
and
she's doing.
these get available to be used again. So I can move
You
them
jump on
back,
back.
raise the power, and
And use
activate it again.
I like
It's
these
a pretty
abilities.
good combo.
Look at us go. Look at the points. 69 points to
we-
10.
Well, like Kuba mentioned, I played it a few times before,
Yeah.
and I'm playing it on easy, so...
Yeah. Speaking of which, how many difficulty modes will we have in the game?
So we used to have 2 difficulties, which was story mode and normal.
Yeah.
However, now we have 3 difficulties, which
Nice.
is story mode, normal, and hard, for people who like, you know, a challenge.
Nice.
It's also worth mentioning that when you play on easy, you can actually skip battles you lost.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in this game mostly for the story, you
Yeah.
know, you won't be frustrated to no end. If you decide not to follow through, you can skip a battle.
Yeah, you can just do
One
the
more
story mode.
mechanic which you might have seen in our previous streams is range, actually. This was introduced to show more impact in terms of how the
How you
rolls
position
work.
units? Exactly.
Yes, how you position them. So this guy has a range of 2, which means from the back, from the range draw, he will only reach melee. He cannot target units
Yeah,
in
exactly.
ranged. I would have to place him in melee to target them.
Boom.
A highly curious case.
Go. Boom. That's a lot of damage.
Mm.
OP much? Whoa.
Yeah,
Well,
he
we
killed
still-
some
we
of
got the
my
point.
units that had Death Wish ability, so they dealt damage to him as well.
Yeah.
You can use a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it
Place the
pretty
top
much-
blitz unit from your deck.
Scheiß in Trade!
Yeah, I think he has nothing on us. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna pass.
92 to 28.
Taken alive. I need answers.
Ah, and he surrendered.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know why you're the game director. You own this game, man. Easy.
After the skirmish, the Queen's troops brought several Nilfgaardian prisoners before her. Reynard, who had the best command of their mongrel tongue, interrogated. His first question? How many battalions were marching on Dravograd?
Kes Zagdran ep Dravagrad ven.
The prisoners whispered feverishly, then one spoke on their behalf. They would answer no questions until the Queen pledged to free them in return. The Lyrian soldiers saw this as arrogance and said as much.
Conditions they're giving us now? Sons of whores! I say, we find a tree with a strong bough, several...
So yes, actually we can get some more informations here. So I'm going to promise to free them.
Ignoring the objections of her retinue, Meve pledged what the soldiers wished. They, in turn, admitted their commander had pushed forward ahead of the army's core force. He now awaited reinforcements that would let him take Dravograd. The prisoners claimed these units would march through the village of Turnifen.
To lay there in ambush. Hold them. They could not join forces.
Reynard whispered, leaning in towards the Queen.
We would gain the advantage for the decisive battle.
Meve had obtained invaluable information, while the prisoners would gain their freedom. Or so it seemed at the time.
And actually I can be a bit of a dick here, and I think I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna execute them anyway.
The
Ouch.
Queen listened closely to the prisoners, nodding many times. Then she simply said,
Hang them.
as they were dragged away, the prisoners shouted, protested, cursed the Queen, to exactly no avail. Meve simply could not risk their betraying her position as easily as they'd betrayed their commanders.
So as you can see,
That day,
oh,
Meve
how
demonstrated
long?
she would
Not
show the
finished yet.
invaders no mercy. The Lyrians marched off, strengthened in their resolve, prepared to fight to the death.
so what I wanted to say is that, as you can see, Meve is a very different character from Geralt. You know, Geralt has its own set of rules that he followed, and he wouldn't kill people needlessly or unnecessarily. But Meve is a very different character, and what she cares for is the survival of her kingdom. And she can be cruel and harsh if you let her. And actually, on occasions, we tempt players with you know, pretty harsh options. So when somebody disagrees with you, you can treat them very severely, or you can listen to what they have to say. And sometimes you can promise something and then break your oath.
Yeah, like you said, this has effect also on the morale of your units and your retinue, and they might disagree with some of your decisions, or they might, you know, like it that you chose. I actually like this little side quest thing. I don't know if you wanna.
Sure, we can do it.
Show it.
Meve and company passed by a village evidently pillaged by the Nilfgaardians. From afar, they had heard cries, but as they drew near, they recognized them not as cries of grief, but as cursing, cries of anger.
Give him a proper walloping, the scoundrel!
Mercy, good folk! I've done nothing wrong!
The villagers stood gathered near the hamlet's center, surrounding an elf, bloodied and cowering. Stones in hand, the peasants threatened and cursed him. The queen demanded an explanation. A ruddy-faced blacksmith stepped forth and spit.
A Nilfgaardian spy the horse and is, your majesty! He's the one brought him here to raise the village! He's gotta hang!
The other villagers agreed with the smith. The elf fell at the queen's feet and groveled.
Have mercy, Renner! Save your loyal subject! They lie! They fault me only as I am an elf!
So as you can see, racial tensions, which were a running theme in our previous games, are also very important. I'd say that even more so than in The Witcher 3. So you will encounter many situations where you can encounter it firsthand and decide what to do in a situation like this.
Spare him. I'm just saying, just spare him. Come on.
Whence the certainty of his guilt? Have you any proof?
Asked Meve.
Did anyone see him communing with the foe? Did he hold any coin with a foreign stamp?
The villagers eyed Meve angrily, their hands clenched into fists. Yet none dared utter a word in protest.
Know this. The Blackclads need no reason to pillage our homes. Now stand aside and let this wretch go.
The elf tearfully thanked the queen, then begged her not to leave him behind. Instead, he pleaded vehemently to join her retinue.
Your most noble grace, please, I beg you. As soon as you're gone, the Dwan will hang me from the nearest tree.
So now you have to decide whether you trust him enough to take him with you.
I mean, come on.
I don't know. I don't really like
He seems
elves.
like a decent elf. I would let him join our company.
Alright.
Just because of my
so
love
be
for
it,
Squirtle.
said the queen after a moment's consideration.
Find the quartermaster.
I know you're a
He's to put you to
Squirtle
work.
collaborator.
And now we march.
The villagers
not me,
gazed
Papa.
with hatred as the company left the hamlet.
So as you can
When
see, you
its
gained
thatched
a
roof
recruit in
huts
this quest. So
disappeared
sometimes
beyond
there
the
are
next
direct
Meve
Consequences.
breathed a sigh of
consequences,
relief.
but there are also long-term consequences. And as you can see, these text events, is how we call them, have beautifully hand-drawn illustrations, and there are hundreds of them, and most of them are unique, and they're drawn specifically for the side quest you're doing right now.
I like how we were merciful and nice. Although Mateusz didn't want to be so nice. Just put it out there.
You know.
Okay, and another.
So actually, there is so we could interrupt the reinforcements we talked about, but I think it's cooler to show what will happen if we don't.
Because we speak so much about the consequences, it's time we show one. So
Yes.
let's just move on.
So here is a choice which will impact the incoming big battle. So if we would intercept these reinforcements, the following battle would be easier. But we're just gonna ignore them.
We're just gonna make our life harder.
Yes.
Because why not?
Oh, maybe let's explain how these work.
So yes, these shrines you can activate once per encountering them, and these give you a one-time boost to morale. However, my morale is already at the max, so I think I'm just going to leave it.
So this is another of these small events. Yes, here, as you can see, the road is blocked. So you can decide to either go around or you can...
So actually what I could do here,
we have
I
three
could
options
just
now.
use this option to lose some morale, and then I could go back to this shrine to just get it back. And then I'm max again.
Nicely played.
Ah, smooth.
I've seen so many armed men in my life, and each one in black plate and winged elm.
I like how the side NPCs, that when you pass through them, they talk about what's going on and gives you more of a feel.
Their lines change depending on what you did in some of the quests, so they'll comment on your actions and decisions.
Too many to count.
I cannot fathom it. Has Nilfgaard sent all its forces into Lyria?
So it seems
your
the
grace.
siege of Dravograd already
Quite
started.
advanced, so yeah, it's good we didn't stall.
Gods protect us.
The Queen uttered a juicy curse. Dravograd stood before them, Nilfgaardians all round it. 3, perhaps 4 battalions of armored infantry, arbalists and cavalry behind them. Trebuchet volleys had punched holes in the walls, while battering rams had twisted the main gate open. But elsewise, the city was mere moments from falling to the foe.
Doomed! We stand not a chance. Nilfgaard outnumbered us twofold. More!
Then our men must put double the spirit into the fight. Double the heart. Lyria!
Emboldened by their valiant queen and commander, the Lyrians charged headlong at Nilfgaard's lines into a hail of bolts and arrows.
I like how Meve always jumps into battle.
Yeah,
Strong leader.
yeah, but also she's quite impatient, and sometimes this
Yeah.
is, a problem. And she prefers, acting to carefully pondering her options.
No time for that.
Yeah.
Straight into battle.
Maybe let's mention why the arbalist has a plus at the end of his.
Oh
name.
yes, so actually some of the units can be upgraded as you play throughout the game. So Arbalest, for example, got upgraded because I built the training grounds.
Oh yeah.
So he gets stronger, and I think another thing that changes for him is that he gets this loyal ability. So this time, not only he will activate his ability when I play him, he will also activate his ability every time Meve uses her ability. That's what the loyal units do.
Yeah. And
Also,
those-
that's why the Scythemen get stronger every time
And
I play her.
your unit's strength is increased because of your high morale.
Yes, as you can see, they are all boosted at the start.
Attack! Rid this city of all black.
So yes, in this battle, one of the special things is, first of all, he starts with some cards on the board, but I can win this fight by just defeating the commander. So the rest of them will basically run away.
Yeah. Though,
However, it's not that easy because he resets his base strength every beginning of the turn.
Oh, okay.
So what it means is I have to do 20 damage to him at the single turn, which is not that easy. But I'm gonna try and build up for it.
I never managed to do that, so
I
I'll
did
watch
a
and
few
learn.
times. Actually, first of all, I'm gonna try and get rid of these trebuchets because they are quite annoying.
Because they'll be dealing damage, right?
Yes, they'll be doing damage
few
turns.
every few turns.
Yeah. Every
So
three turns.
whenever
damage by one.
armor I build on him, they'll try to, get rid of. So yes, I think I can kill them now.
No more trebuchets.
Exactly.
Easy clap.
And then I think I'm gonna start building up some power for
You
this
can
thing.
try to win them all, but you won't.
It used up its order, but I have Reinhardt, so I'll be able to do the same combo I did before. Just like these guys. Oh yeah, actually there is one more thing. I see he played the Alba armored cavalry, and these guys get boosted and they get armor every time I activate any kind of order, either Meve's ability or orders on the cards. So yes, I'm risking it a bit here because I'm gonna boost them every time I activate, but I really wanna try and beat this guy. Especially that he's gonna get reinforcements in the second round. See, they all get boosted every time.
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes.
We'll see if I'll be able to do it actually. It's not that easy to do this to him.
Ah, come on. You got this.
Okay, let's try this. Actually, no, that won't work. Yeah. So actually now there is a limit of 9 cards on a row. I'm not sure. I don't remember if it was the same on live.
It is.
So yeah, we could try this. Might not be enough.
Armor won't save them.
Oh no, it is.
Easy.
Okay, so I have 11
Calculated.
on him.
Boom. No more Fremdi. Bye bye.
They retreat! Your Majesty!
Oh, yeah, because I
They lost the commander, so
So we
So you
actually
lost the
didn't show
battle.
the consequence because you were so eager to win in the first
yeah,
round.
you know.
So yeah, let's just
I
maybe.
just really
before you
wanted to
click-
kill them.
Yeah, I know. So before you click continue, let's just say that in the second round, had you not won in the
yeah,
first
the
round,
reinforcements would arrive.
reinforcements that we didn't kill or didn't stop in the previous side quest would have arrived and made our
Life
life
much harder.
much harder. But since you're such an expert commander and you just killed them in the first round, then
The Nilfgaardians
Yeah.
don't have to worry about that at all.
abandoning war machines, shields, and arms, even their wounded. The defenders rejoiced. They laughed boisterously, and cries of delight and chanting could be heard all around. Warrior Queen, they shouted. Meve, Meve, Meve!
Hear that, your grace.
I do. No sound rings more lovely to a ruler's ear. Yet rest on our laurels we cannot. Caldwell, the situation in the town, what can you tell me?
Wall breached. Thrice. 400 wounded, near 1,000 without roofs over their heads. All nothing compared to the grain stores. Went up in smoke during the siege. And it's some time yet afore the harvest. Your Grace, the war's just begun, I know. All coins should bolster the army, yet if we leave the folk of Dravograd no gold, there will be hunger, with all the attendant discord.
So yes, we can decide to aid Dravograd. I could actually afford it, and or I could basically decide to keep the money because we need it for the war effort. Definitely, our soldiers will answer to this decision. They will. They watch us closely. But I think we can afford it right now. I'm gonna be
The
generous.
drought of 1258 I remember all too well. I saw famine, what it drives folk to do, the extremes. A strong army I need desperately, yet not at all costs. The townsfolk need gold to survive till the harvest. Count how much, then give it to the garrison commander.
As you command, Your Grace?
The battle we've won, there's just the war that remains. And Nilfgaard will strike again, doubt it not. We must move on. Caldwell, ride ahead to Lyria. My son must call a gathering of the Council of Peers. Tell him so. We'll have much to discuss. Reynard and I will follow with the troops. We shall seek out any Nilfgaardian stragglers, prevent them from rejoining the main force.
Meve's two adjutants bowed and left the Queen to think. She was hungry, sore from the fight, spent. Yet sensing her soldiers' eyes upon her, she set off for the stable, her gait brisk, her head held high.
We did another good thing.
So yes, our next objective would be to go to Lyria to meet with our advisors, with all the lords from the land, and with Meve's son, Willem. I don't know, do you think we should go on, or do we still have time?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah?
Still.
Okay, sure.
Let's not maybe get to the big plot twist, but regarding also plot twists, will we see a lot of these within the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the sorry, just to show this is where we're headed. So we have to go this long winding road to our capital. I'm not sure we'll get there. I think
We'll
we
probably stop
won't,
somewhere
but
in the
we'll stop
middle.
somewhere
Yeah,
in the
let's see.
Anyway, one of the key characteristics of our previous games and the way we craft our stories is that we like to surprise players and we like to come up with twists that are
Meve
really
stood
unexpected.
surrounded by advisors,
And
discussing.
this is just one of
When
them.
all at once they heard a mighty thud.
Now we got
Bloody hell.
sabotaged.
They looked to see a cavalryman who'd clearly fallen from his saddle. The men who'd
Did
witnessed
you
the
time
battle
this?
began
I'm
to jest,
impressed because you only just
only to
started
choke
talking
on
and
their
here we go.
laughter, as the wretch, having
No, I
risen to
didn't.
his hands and knees,
Fully improvised.
began to shake and vomit blood. The medic's diagnosis: poison.
Ooh.
In spite of his best efforts, the cavalryman breathed his last that very night. Soon, several other riders developed the same symptoms, and at the last shared their comrade's fate. All were buried at the roadside, beneath an old willow.
This looks to be no coincidence.
Reynard said, gravely.
Our stores of water. Someone's poisoned them. We must find the fiend. In the interim, your Majesty must quench her thirst with wine.
So something we did along our playthrough caused this. For now, we don't know what.
I hope it's not the elf. Just
we'll
saying.
learn in the future.
Just saying. I hope it's not the elf. Don't blame that guy. He was nice. He was cool. He would never do such a bad thing.
Horns sounded.
Ooh, my favorite.
Recognized them at once as those of the Lyrian vanguard.
Lippy.
She drew her sword and prepared to face the invader. Yet coming down upon her force were not Nilfgaardians, but bearded warriors clad in leather, horned helmets on their heads. This was not so. The Queen could not believe her eyes.
Skelligan raiders. This far inland?
But this was no time to be bewildered. Meve spurred her horse. It neighed and reared, and then the twain leapt into the fray.
For Skellige's glory.
So as you can see, this card is pretty overpowered.
Yeah, he has
150.
Yeah, so this is a short battle with special rules, and we'll have to find a way to win with Lippy Goodman.
Yeah, actually, the thing about this guy is he will.
He's gonna wound himself, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a little bit easier.
Well, he's gonna try to duel the most powerful units on the board, which means sometimes he'll duel his own units. And the duel is basically they 2 cards damage each other until one of them dies. So yeah, well right now I think whatever I'll play, he's gonna kill it.
Yeah, he's gonna destroy it for sure.
So might just as well do this to boost it up a little bit and to wound him. So yeah, now he just dueled me, but he also plays units of his own, obviously. This guy, yeah, he's not strong enough, so he's gonna kill another one of my dudes.
We'll be reaping black-clad heads.
But yeah, these guys boost themselves anytime their ally gets wounded. Oh, actually there's a 6 now, so I might... No, I still don't have anything weaker.
Yeah, your weakest unit is also a 6.
I don't want to lose this, it's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe just the guy who gets the other copy, yeah.
The pikeman?
Yeah.
Sure, let the pikeman die.
Yeah, safe option.
I think if they're all the same... Yeah, he picks randomly, and he picked his own, that's good. So yeah, of course, this battle we can complete in 2 different ways. We can either kill him, or we can win in points, so win a standard way.
So if you have more points, you also win the game.
So there's quite a few of these battles which have special rule sets, and there's actually a separate category of games we call puzzles, where we do crazy things. And for example, instead of facing an opponent, you might have to deal with an avalanche and falling boulders. Or you encounter a troll who's cooking a soup, or some other stuff. So basically, since it's a single-player game, it can be a little bit more whimsical and come up with this crazy scenarios that we play out with Gwent cards by bending the rules this way and that.
Keeps destroying my armor on that wagon bird. I don't like that.
Left, right, left, right.
Alright, let's try this. I think I'm just gonna activate it because he will destroy it again.
I have 2 7s. I have the strongest units all the time. Muster another one. Another sideman.
Maybe let's do this. He's gonna defeat Reinhard.
Reactivate the ability. Yeah, move those around.
So yeah, as you can see, I can do quite a lot in my turn. It's not just playing one card anymore.
Doing lots of cool combos.
Well, he doesn't die.
He'll be fine.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
He took one for the team.
So another thing we could mention is that we really put a lot of thought into what Meve's army should be comprised of. And initially she had this army which was very much like any other Northern Realms army, with a lot of siege machines, a lot of catapults and so on. But then we realized that since she's always in the move, it just felt weird that she has these heavy war machines.
Yeah,
So we replaced them with more makeshift units. So there's a lot of carts, which serve as these, war machines that can be always in the move. And she also depends on scythemen, so basically peasants that she commissioned and told them to grab their tools and ride into battle.
Yeah, even in the tutorial we have this choices and consequences where we meet a group of peasants who have helped the strays of Spala, so you can choose the option to get them.
Close. I hope he doesn't.
But still, I mean, you're winning on points.
That was close.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, actually, it is easy. If it wasn't,
exactly.
I would lose.
Brought mayhem, yet the Queen's ordered, disciplined force won the day.
I like this art of Lippy.
Entirely undismayed at their defeat. A trait of theirs.
Actually, this will have one of the long-lasting consequences.
Yeah, so basically what we decide here will influence the events of the fourth map, so a long way down the road.
Yes, we could either punish them because they are raiding our lands after all, or we could just turn them against the Nilfgaard, although our soldiers probably won't like that we just let them go.
Yeah. I like the second option more.
Yeah, I like it more as well.
Me too. We all agree.
We must know something first. What brings you this far inland? What drove you from the sea?
Meve asked, crossing her arms.
Ha! What always drives us? Looting and penetrating. The coast's been clean since long, so we set our longships up the Yaruga for gold and glory.
Amusing. I always assumed you to be honourable folk.
And who dares to claim elsewise?
Your very actions do so. You've attacked a land preoccupied, a land already at war with invaders, but I suppose it makes sense. You've ever feared to attack Imperials?
The Queen prodded gently.
What did you say, wench?
Gudmund had quickly turned red with rage.
I'll prove just how wrong you are, I will. Why? We'll be drinking mead from Nilfgaardian helmets for sundown. Follow me, lads!
Meve smiled as she watched the islanders gather their gear and prepare to march. She doubted not in the least that Gudmund would honor his pledge.
Yeah, Lippy's also a little bit hot-headed.
Yeah, so he was easy to manipulate.
I have a feeling we'll hear of him again.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like we said before, there are also places where we can recruit people. So yes, there are these flags that symbolize places where we can basically villages where we can recruit new conscripts, which can be turned into units. Oh, I think I skipped a dialogue by accident.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Yeah, actually. So we could do another side quest here, I think.
Yeah, let's do one more, and then we'll probably start finishing off.
Yeah. So let's see what this gathering is about.
Ooh, actually, could we do one more after this?
Yeah,
so
we
could
can.
show
Of course.
one character that people might know from the books.
I know what you're going for. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
By the time she reached
This one is fast.
fresh recruits would be waiting to join her growing force. Alas, the commander of this fort, one Sergeant Griggs, had only bad news.
Your Majesty, I've not the numbers to man the walls even. The call to arms brings few new recruits and more men desert each day. Folk are terrified something awful. They don't believe in victory.
So yeah, we could here try to recruit some people with
We can make a speech.
or with money.
Your call.
Or we could just force them.
Just press them
I
into
like
service.
playing the mean queen, so
Yeah?
I just
Force them?
Yeah.
Okay, let's force
Let's
them.
do something mean, because we're always nice because of me.
Meve
Well, I
said
did
sternly,
kill those
rising
Nilfgaardians.
from behind
Well,
the
yeah.
table.
They are to
Aside from that.
fight, and that is the end of it. Sergeant, you must issue a call that all Crydom's inhabitants aged 16 to 40 summers are to report to the garrison. Anyone shirking this duty shall face a fine and a public lashing.
The prospect of facing the royally ordained
Yeah, our
punishments
people didn't like that really.
They're not too happy.
Crygham's
But we
residents
have
to
some
enlist
more new
in the
recruits.
Lyrian
We'll
army
pray
in
at a
force.
shrine and make.
We'll fix it. We'll just pray at a
Yeah.
shrine.
The gods will forgive us.
Yeah.
Hey.
Maybe another thing that's worth mentioning that is the notice board, because that's an iconic. Could you get back for it?
You want to show it?
Yeah. So that's an iconic element of the Witcher universe.
Okay.
In the past, it was Geralt who would go to a notice board and look for things to do. Here, when you click on the notice board, it lights up with things to
New
do.
markers.
So you see quests and loot and puzzles that you can decide to go and explore.
So yeah, it basically uncovers activities on a region map. All right, I'm just gonna run really quick to this one more dialogue, and I think we're gonna end there.
Yeah, sounds good.
So the side quest you wanted to show.
Yes.
Here we go. Who's that guy?
On their way to the capital, Meve and
Actually,
company
it'd be
happened
cool
one
to
fine
show the
day
second
upon
part
a
of
lone
that
rider.
as well.
Had I been at her side, I would immediately
Oh,
have
the knight is still
recognized his
young,
passionate gaze.
Yeah, we can.
we are
I
sitting
mean, we can.
together,
We're not
chivalrously.
young, but the knight is young, so we can go for it.
yourself, sir, and your intent.
Ache of Denel I am dubbed, and my design I never conceal. The good book says the world is a garden which the gods once conferred upon man, and we men have this garden neglected. In consequence, all manner of filth has made its lair here. Drowners, ghouls, and other kobolds. I have sworn ne'er to rest until the day when, with the gods' help, I have rid the world of these beasts and pests. I wander all lands, seeking out evil and facing it in mortal combat.
Who do
I
we
like the
spy?
faces they're making.
A knight errant.
Just as likely a madman.
I like that remark.
So this is Ache of
How
the
goes
Nells.
your
It's a
hunt?
character from the books.
Caught the trail of any
So even
monster?
though knowing the books and the games is not necessary to enjoy the Thronebreaker campaign, you can start playing it without knowing a thing about the Witcher universe and just be fully able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you have read the books, there'll be a lot of little winks and nods and things
Easter
to
eggs.
discover.
We like those.
A wild cat of Ophir. Its maw full of spiked teeth. The wings of a bat it is said to have. The tail of a scorpion, and from it a thick venom drips. Learned men call this variety a manticore or mardiacore.
Perhaps it will be most prudent then to send for a witcher.
A witcher? Soulless automatons they are all, feeding on common folks' fears. What they demand gold to do, I perform without demand of any coin.
Sir Ache,
Noblemen.
far be it from me to discourage you. Your endeavor is noble, no doubt. But from what I have heard, manticores are exceedingly dangerous beasts.
To defeat this filth alone could be a difficult task, I'll not deny. Yet try it I must, for it is what I have sworn before the gods.
Yeah, we're gonna help him. I want
Yeah.
him to join us.
Of course.
We shall help you find and fight the Manticore, provided you then pledge to help us fight an even fiercer and filthier beast.
Of course, my lady. Yet what manner of horror is it? A viper? A griffin? A drake of some rare form?
Were it only. 'Tis a beast of 1,000 heads, covered in black armor, its fire consuming whole villages.
Noble lady. I know bestiar is only in parts, yet I've seen some of the world, and never have I heard of such a terror.
You need but look about you, and spot Nilfgaard's legions.
She's not amused.
Devastating. But you must forgive me, Your Grace. This struggle between realms is not one to which I can lay a hand.
I
A
insist.
Manticore. How great is its appetite? How many men does it fell, in a moon, let us say?
It changes. At a time when the horror broods, it may be as many as 20.
I see. As now you must. Nilfgaard in my capital could mean as many as 20,000 felled. You live to fight evil, injustice, do you not? You can fight none greater than by doing so at my side.
The Manticore, Your Grace, must fall first. As to what happens later, I shall need to consult the good book and petition the gods.
Agreed, so be it. This monster, where lies its lair? Where does it prowl?
To the north, my queen. A few leagues on.
To the north.
So actually, now we got Egg in our
Yeah, in our
party.
team.
Yeah. You can
So
check him out in the mess tent
Yeah,
and actually
there he
talk to
is.
him here.
We can talk to him. And later on you can expect to fill out the canteen with companions. And of course he's also a card. So we got him in our deck. Now I have too many things.
Your provision cost went up.
Yeah.
1 point.
I'm not gonna put him in then. Not yet.
No egg.
You have to put another card.
Yeah, I have to put something back in.
Okay. In any case, so I think, do you guys want to help him?
Yeah.
Do you want to show the Manticore?
Yeah, let's show the Manticore.
I think Manticore
The
is
Manticore is epic, we have to show it. I mean...
And also you might have noticed that Witchers were mentioned, and even though we haven't met one yet,
in these
who knows, maybe we'll get a chance to do so.
is near. I sense it.
Yes, also look how the map changed. Right now we're covered in fog, and looks spooky, and we're getting straight to the Manticore's lair.
At the furthest depth of the winding, gloomy canyon, scouts found the maw of a great cavern. Among the boulders outside it, whitening bones lay strewn. Ache dismounted and drew his blade.
By the god's grace, we've found the beast's lair.
He said, lifting his gaze to the heavens.
We need them but to extend their favor as we battle the filth.
Meve cast a critical eye at her shield. Wood clad in leather and thin plate. Enough to stop a sword, certainly, but would it protect her from a beast's raging blow? Noticing her hesitation, Reynard approached the Queen and said,
Your Grace, none will utter a disparaging word should you step back.
But they will think them,
replied Meve.
and that's bad enough. The war has begun. I can't appear weak to my fighting men.
Without awaiting an answer, Meve strode into the cave. The rest of the company followed, equally full of fear and faith in their queen and commander. Moments later, a great and powerful roar filled the cavern.
Here we go.
So yes, actually this one is pretty special. It's a story combat, and even though I didn't add Ache to my deck, since this is so important for him, he will be present.
Yeah.
And wait, I'll need a lot of damage here, so I'm gonna get rid of the peasants.
And you have low morale, so...
Yeah. They lost a little bit
easy.
on power, so as you can see, they are already wounded in some way. That's because of the morale going down.
Yes, unfortunately I did force these peasants into our army.
Yeah.
Here we go, the Manticore in its glory.
So as you can see, this one is very custom. So the Manticore consists of six cards, and each of them does different things. And actually it doesn't play any cards, since it's just a Manticore. So for example, the tail, it will destroy the leftmost enemy unit on the melee row. And also it deals damage whenever my units move. The wings will be pushing my units to the ranged row. With the claws, it will be dealing damage.
Doing damage, yeah.
So, fortunately, I have Ache to do some special things as well. And Ache will become stronger every time one of my units get wounded. Unfortunately, she will do a lot of damage, so yes, it will happen. I'm gonna use Meve to try and damage the wings. And obviously the objective here is to kill the head of the Manticore.
Of course.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
I'm gonna make some room for units. As you can see, he gets boosted because they got moved and damaged.
Left, right, left, right.
And his big thing is that whenever he gets played, he will damage an enemy by his own power.
So yeah, we really want to boost him
you
as
want
much
to boost
as
him
possible.
up and play him.
So he can destroy the head of the Manticore.
Well, you can also destroy different parts of it. Like, oh, okay, this won't target the... Okay, not yet. Yeah, I want to kill the wings, so it will start pushing my units back.
Could you show Ache's premium? Because it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Pretty
That's so cool.
This is the golden dragon he hunted in the
attempted
short
to
story.
hunt.
Yeah. Oh, he tried to fight it, yeah.
Look at him go.
if you want to know what happened next, you have to talk with him in the canteen.
So yeah, we could kill the wing, actually. Well, destroy the wing.
Yeah.
Now, well, it still has one, but it will be able to move less of my units, yeah. I'm wondering, should I actually kill the... Yeah, let's destroy the second one.
No more wings.
Yep.
To the ground with you, pestilent filth!
It will stop moving my units now.
Pestilent filth.
But it still has the other things it can do.
Give me a target.
Okay, I still need to do a little bit more damage to it. So yeah, this I can't really use on it. Let's try Reinhard maybe.
No.
We must trust each other.
So I can use the drummers again and summon some more units.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
You won't.
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
Oh yeah, this will boost Ike a lot.
Oh yeah.
He likes this.
Oh, 36.
Alright, and yeah, we can finish it up
The
with
night
him.
should help. Our codex
Boom.
commands it.
There
And it's
it
gone.
is.
We
It's
must
dead.
thank the gods for this victory, both great and just.
Nice. That's one manticore less.
At their side, the Lyrians felled the manticore. Later, it was said, the beast's dying wail, multiplied and strengthened as it passed through the caverns, could be heard as far as Spala.
Your Grace, many monarchs have I met in my time, yet none proved as virile in battle as did your Majesty.
Virile? I dislike the term. Seems not to suit a woman. I prefer valiant. Yet grateful I am for the compliment. Now pray reveal, have you made your decision? Will you swear to serve me? Are you prepared to take an oath?
I am not, your Grace. I can serve only the gods. Yet, I do believe them to be on your side as one unjustly and treacherously attacked. Thus I see nothing wrong in assisting you.
Then I am content and welcome you in my ranks, Sir Ake of Denel.
The knight-errant bowed low from the waist. So low, in fact, the gambeson neath his mail creaked. Meve could only hope he would battle Nilfgaardians as boldly as he faced beasts.
Nice.
Okay.
So actually, I think we could finish up here. I'm just gonna show you one more thing. Because we killed the manticore, we got another trophy, which is the manticore trophy.
Ooh.
And yeah, I could replace my own. This one is actually pretty useful. So whenever the enemy plays a card, they get wounded.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the premium.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much. Well, we could play more, but I think
I
we
think
should
that's
finish
enough.
moment,
We don't
because
really
it's a good
want
moment,
to
yeah.
go deep into the story and spoil it. One last question before we wrap up. This is the first map that we saw, but there are 4 additional ones.
Yes.
Which is your favorite? Personal favorite?
Well, I would say Angren. It's the 4th map. I like it a lot because it has a lot of this Witcher feeling. Like if you played Witcher 3, you might remember Velen, you might remember Bloody Baron, you might remember the Crones and so on. It's pretty much similar vibe.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Swampy
swamp
land?
filled with monsters and people who abuse power and stuff like
there
that.
are old
It's really
stories
cool.
to unravel, and it's very creepy.
Yeah.
And feels like a very dangerous part of the Witcher universe.
What about you?
My favorite part, though, is Mahakam, the Dwarven Kingdom. I've always wanted to show it in one of our games, and I'm really happy that I had a chance to work on this. So when we decided we will be showing Mahakam, I spent months designing the document, which tried to outline how it differs from the rest of the Witcher universe, what makes it special. And then our artists made an amazing job at representing this snowy realm, cut off from the rest of the continent, and I'm really happy with how it came together.
And you guys show the maps, and they're hand drawn also, and they look
Yes.
really, really cool.
Yes, and of course, every region has its own region map, which is very custom, and they are also some of them are a different style.
Yeah, they have a different feel to them.
Because
Exactly.
Mahakam, for example, it's stylized to be drawn by the dwarves, so it's more crude and less.
It's more crude, and I also like the style, and that's what sets them apart. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Thronebreaker actually comes out on PC in 21 days. If you want to pre-order it, go to witchertales.com and grab a copy. That's it. I'm going to say bye. And
Thanks.
you guys
Thanks for
also
watching.
can say bye.
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 Thanks for watching.